Hi there, welcome to Floating in Dreams. This is my palette review for May. Welcome to everybody watching today. Thank you so very much for joining me. In this video today, I'm going to be reviewing 5 of the eyeshadow palettes that I tried for the first time in March. 4 of them were sent to me in PR by MONOLITH, so I do apologize in advance. And one of them I did purchase with my own money. So let me get to these 5 palettes for you. So the 5 palettes that will be featured in today's video are the Adept Cosmetics Emo palette, the Lovers from Cosmic Beauty, the Green Goddess from Bella Beauté Bar, the Beauty Below from Blend Bunny, which is also on my eyes today, and then I have the Nomad Chamonix Après Ski eyeshadow palette. The one that I purchased with my own money is the Nomad one. The other ones were all sent to me in PR by MONOLITH. I am affiliated with them. I have a code with them as well, which I will pop on the screen right here, and it will get you 5% off on that website. So in case you were looking for some indie palettes and you are located in Europe, then MONOLITH can be worth checking out for your indie fix if you'd like. I ended up playing with the Adept Cosmetics Emo palette first because I was super excited for this one. Not because I was I didn't have high hopes for this palette, because when it comes to Adept Cosmetics, this is my 4th or 5th Adept palette that I try, and they are not my favorite formula. So I do want to say that right off the bat that this wasn't my favorite, but I can see merit in this palette. I just feel that now that I've tried it, I do think it is heavily overpriced. Some people really enjoy the Adept formula. I am someone who's of the opinion that they give you so many shimmers that don't always work together. I feel that this is the first palette that they've done where I can really make little color stories out of what the palette gives me, and I am able to pull looks out of it. That's usually what I struggle with Adept, and then given how expensive these palettes are, I always feel that that is the letdown. But with this, I feel I get a good formula, but the shadows that are meant to make this more special, which are holographic shades, that probably would warrant the price point, because that is currently what is the most expensive eyeshadow to make in the market, it seems. And I think you get like 3 or 4 of those in this palette. They literally don't add anything to the palette. There's only like 1 or 2 that I really feel give me that nice little bit of extra sparkle, but for the most part, once you apply them with brushes, they just look like any standard shimmer eyeshadow would. So I don't know. Like I said, one thing that I do rate about this palette is that for the first time, I have tried an Adept palette where I feel I can pull actual looks, and it's not just a bunch of random shimmer shades that I struggle to put together. So that's why, for me personally, Adept palettes never really worked. And there are 6 mattes in this palette, and that has been one of the reasons why I can pull looks out of it. Adept used to only do like 1 or 2 mattes in their palettes, or none at all, and that would be the struggle bus for me. I'm usually not a lover of mattes, but I have found that if I have old shimmer palettes, then sometimes it doesn't always work. And with Adept, I also feel that a lot of their color stories don't pull on me the way I expect it to pull when I look at it in the pan. And this was also something that this palette didn't do. So I felt that these shades are pretty true to color. There are some nice cooler leaning shades in here as well. So that's something that I really appreciated. And it's not just the mattes that are cool, also within the shimmers. The only one that is overly warm toned is this really strong gold. So that's one that I kind of ignore. And then you see that it's a very sort of fair skin friendly, cooler leaning palette with some pops of color. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to try this, to see if I like it and to see if I like this better. This palette has a couple of things going for it that I feel other Adept palettes haven't done so far. I like the packaging. It's plastic. It's very reminiscent of the Natasha Denona eyeshadow palettes. It even has little slots in the back, as you can see here, that allows you to easily pop these out and replace them with other things. So that is definitely an upgrade when it comes to what Adept palettes used to bring me before. I already mentioned the 6 mattes, which I think are really helpful. and you do get really, really stunning shimmers. There is a level of sparkliness, even to the more standard shimmers that come into this palette, that I feel is quite innovative. So from an innovation standpoint, I feel this palette brings me something totally new, and that is something that I do really appreciate. It just doesn't quite come together the way I had hoped. And then to see that this goes for over 90 euros on MONOLITH, I don't know what the price is in US dollars, but I would have to pay additional fees on top of that anyway. So that would, like, the first time I bought from Adept, I bought it through their official website, and I paid the exact amount of money of the products on top of the money of the products for the shipping and handling fees, because that's usually what happens if you buy things from outside of the EU for me. So MONOLITH makes it a little bit more cost effective if you do buy through them and you're in Europe, but I still think it is too expensive for what it is. And the reason why is because one of the Adept palettes that I tried previously has a very creamy formula, and it already expired on me. So far too quickly. I have had eyeshadow in my collection for 15 plus years that are still good to go. This kind of formula is going to last you a year and a half, and that is too little time for any person to be using up an eyeshadow palette like this. Only if you use it every single day of your life and you're a makeup artist and you do makeup on other people, will you be able to get through every single pan. I've seen other people like do project pans for eyeshadows. I manage to use up one eyeshadow a year, which is the base that I use, like the cream colored eyeshadow that I set my base with. I use it every single day non-stop, and it's just one pan, and that's the only one I manage to use up. So for a single consumer, which is what Adept is aimed at, you're not going to be able to use this up before it expires. And for a product to be this expensive and not have the longevity that you needed to be able to warrant that price point, I feel very shaky about. Like, that's why I don't think I would recommend you try this unless you really like the look of this and you find it worth the money. But for me, I think if I had purchased this with my own money, I would have been very disappointed with it, because these shimmers do have that very creamy formula that Adept is known for, which looks really stunning, but it also expires really quickly. So do with that what you wish. My favorite shade in the palette has to be the holographic in the middle. This is another holographic shade. This is another holographic shade. This one has the potential to also be a holographic, but I don't think it is listed as such. But it does have a little bit of extra sparkle running through it. And the reason why I say, like, the holographic shades is part of why this eyeshadow palette is so expensive, and I feel that that's the main letdown. These were both too dark for me for the sparkle to show up. Like, this is so dark, if I use that all over my lids, it's going to look like I was punched in the face. It's not a good look. So that's why the only holographic that I could really sort of use to have it look its holographic goodness was that shade in the middle. It is really pretty. It's like a periwinkle purpley base with lots of different shifts in it. It's absolutely stunning. But the other two holographic shades, I just felt I couldn't use them in order to make them look as good. I ended up doing 3 different looks, maybe even 4 with this palette. It was at the start of the month, so it was a little while ago. I did something centered around the green matte. I did something to do with like the purpley matte, and I did something with these like this mauve-y pink sort of matte. So I did something that was a little bit more warm toned, and then 2 really stunning cool toned looks. You get enough dark mattes to deepen things up. You get enough medium toned lighter mattes that are going to be great for setting up a crease and a transition shade. So I do feel this palette has a lot to offer, and it was a lot of fun playing around with it. This is now my favorite Adept Cosmetics palette, but I do feel there are a couple of ifs and buts with this formula that make me a little apprehensive to say you need to go out and buy this. Yes, it's stunning. If you want to try holographic shades, then this can be a good one. However, K-beauty brands do holographic shades as singles that cost you maybe 10, 15 euros a piece, and it will give you the same look as this does. So you don't need an entire palette for holographic shades, is what I'm trying to say. Now, as far as I know, this was sent to me in the same PR package, so I'll continue with that. This was the Valentine's Day release from Cosmic Beauty, At the time when it was announced, I said I don't think I will be trying this because it just looks a little bit too similar to other things I already have in my makeup collection. I do really rate the Cosmic Beauty formula though, and this is very much on point. Can I flip this back? Ugh, it's a little stiff. It is a beautiful palette. It has some stunning shades in. In here as well, you get some interesting shimmers. I especially like this one here at the bottom. But essentially, you get roughly 4 color stories. So that's why I did 4 different looks with it. You get the pinky one, you get the warmer neutral one, you get a green one, and you get a teal one. So the way I've played around with this, because you sort of get 5 shades in every single corner, so I've stuck to those 5 shades. You can easily mix and match these. I think the pinky purples with the greens will be really pretty, or the pinky purples with the blues will be really pretty. The greens with the neutrals will be pretty. Like, the entire palette does work together, and you get plenty of mattes and shimmers to play around with to create different looks. I really liked it. It is similar to the Cosmic Beauty formula I already knew I liked. So that's why this one is really good. I just don't feel that this color story brings me anything that I find very exciting and new. That's the reason why I would have passed up on it if it wasn't sent to me in PR, because I just did a massive declutter in March and I got rid of so many things that were too similar to things I already owned, and I kind of feel like this is not filling a gap. This is not giving me anything too exciting. Is it a really beautiful palette that has brighter pops of color mixed in with some grungy, more muted tones? That's why this works. That's why it's stunning. But that is my comfort zone. I have a lot of palettes that can do this. It wasn't necessary in my collection, but this was something that MONOLITH was like, this is what everybody's going to receive anyways. So I was kind of stuck with this one. It is beautiful. It is an absolutely gorgeous palette. I would recommend it. I also think that from a affordability standpoint, Cosmic Beauty is an indie brand that is a little less expensive than something like Adept. I think this retails for around 45 to 50 euros. So that's almost half of what you pay for the Adept. And in here you get 20 different colors, and I feel that this formula is just as easy to work with as the Adept. And then I always feel like, why do some brands have to make things so expensive? Like, you can do good things at a lower price point, I feel. So this makes it a little bit more accessible, I think. And if, for instance, you're a beginner, you'd want to try indie brands, but you're not sure whether you want to splurge over 90 euros on a palette, then going with something like Cosmic Beauty can be a good one. And I also think that this, like, especially if you don't have that much eyeshadow and you're looking for good colorful shades but that aren't scary to use, that this is another really good one. Like, this is a very inoffensive palette. It has so many good things going for it. It's just that for me personally, it didn't make a whole lot of sense in my makeup collection. But it can make sense in yours if you don't have these shades a lot yet. I'll stick to the PR first. The Green Goddess from Bella Beauté Bar. I already told you, this was one thing I was very much interested in when this was announced in the new makeup releases video that I did. And this is absolutely stunning. It's really beautiful. I did a very neutral look with it. I did a look with like these neutrals with the pops of green, and then I did an all green look as well. One of those looks I also created for you on camera in a Get Ready With Me. So if you want to see this palette being used, I will make sure to put it in the description box down below so you can see how things apply and how I put the looks together. I tend to use the same techniques every single time I do my makeup. I don't have time in the morning to faff around and do anything else because I'm always doing my makeup before I get ready for the workday. So I'm always stressed for time. So I have sort of like my set of how I like to do my makeup, and that's what I do for every look. So it's the same techniques that you'll see in that video I've used for any of the looks you're seeing today. I used to be a little bit more adventurous, but I've just found something that works for me and I kind of stick to it. But yeah, this is a beautiful color story. It's just not as green on me as I feel it can look on other people. I think if you have a warm undertone, it's going to look more green. But yeah, it is stunning. You get really beautiful shimmers in here. It is super sparkly. It does have some warmth, but it's not overly warm, I feel. The only thing I'm missing in here is like a good crease, like an inner corner shade, I should say, not a crease shade, an inner corner shade. That's the only downside I feel with this eyeshadow palette. But it has some beautiful things going for it. Is this now my favorite green eyeshadow palette? No, it's not. And the reason for that is because I just felt something was off with the greens especially. Like, these 6 shades are stunning, but in this little 9 pan, like, it's the shimmers that really make up for it. But in the mattes, like, I like this because it has that grayish undertone, but I felt it made the look less green tone than it could have been. So I think it's in the mattes that we're not getting as much green as the name might suggest. Like, this earthy, woodsy vibe, I don't feel it's very much represented in the palette itself. So that's just a minor detail. I think it's really pretty still. It is quite flaky, like the shimmers in here can be a little bit chunky. So it does require a finger, and my favorite shade has to be this one right here at the top. I hope the camera picks it up. It probably doesn't. It's borderline holographic. It's absolutely stunning. The shimmers in here are quite light, but they truly pack a punch. So that's why with this, whenever I was using it, I was using my face highlight as an inner corner highlight, because those really chunky things, I don't like it if it gets too close to my actual eye, because those little flakes can then get in my eye throughout the day, and that's just something I don't feel that comfortable with. And then the final palette I received in PR is also the final eyeshadow palette I tried out this month, and it is on my lids today. It's the Beauty Below palette from Blend Bunny Cosmetics. And this is one where I was very apprehensive when it launched, because I looked at this color story and I just felt like, is that going to be for me? Because the way the brand promoted it, it's supposed to be like the darker evil sister to the lore. Because this is evil mermaids, you could say. But then I got it in because it was, again, on the list of things I could select for that MONOLITH sent me. I was like, okay, I might as well try that. It's not as dark as you think. Like, this is these 4 shades. And that's, once I got it in, I could truly see this palette for what it is. And what it is 6 different quads. You get a periwinkle quad, you get like a greeny gold quad, you get a greeny teal quad, you get a purpley quad, you get a neutral quad, and you get a pink quad. So guess what I did when I was creating looks with this? Yes, I did a quad for every single look. Do these mix and match, and can you do very stunning, colorful things? Yes. And that also means that even though you get 6 pretty intense dark mattes, if you leave those out of your look, this is actually pretty fair skin friendly, which I had not expected. With Blend Bunny, one of my issues sometimes is that their deep shades are too deep for me. I had that issue with the Dollhouse, which is why I decluttered that, because there's this whole row of dark shades, and those all looked identical on me. It just looked black. But these all look different. This blue shows up as a blue. This like deeper berry shows up as a berry. The dark green looks like a dark green. So this, I feel, is the first time I found the Blend Bunny palette where everything truly worked and it all looked on my skin the way I had expected it to be. And some of these shades are intense. Let me tell you, this shimmer, oh my, like I did 3 looks back to back. Like I sometimes, when palettes are this big and there are so many options, I have to do some looks back to back. And I was trying to take this off. It stained my hands, it stained my nose. Like I had blue shadow everywhere, but it is really beautiful. The only gripe I have with this is that some of the shimmers are a little bit meh. Like if you look at how shimmery and exciting the Green Goddess is, in here, especially in this top half, I felt some of the shimmers were a bit matte. Like this is just not that shimmery. Like, do you see that? Like it's just, there's just not as much sparkle. I felt that also in all of these, there just wasn't a whole lot of shimmer that showed up on my lids. Luckily, the bottom half really redeemed itself, but I just felt that some of the shades could have been a little bit more exciting in the shimmer department. Again, I'm not entirely sure what this retails for. as with the Bella Beauté bar because I was sent to them. But I do know that both Blend Bunny and Bella Beauté bar have gone up in price ever since they've changed formulas and they're doing slightly different things. So I do think this is a beautiful look. Like this periwinkle look alone, I'm going to keep this palette around for forever because we all know I love a good periwinkle. It's one of my favorite things to wear. And where sometimes if palettes have brighter colors that are aimed at deeper skin tones, I cannot make them work because if I blend them out, they can look a little weird on me. I have had that issue with some other bright palettes in the past where it was very obvious to me that they had only tested those on warm skin tones and not on someone with a cool skin tone, because once I started blending them, they all looked weird and muddy. I don't have that issue here, so this has so much going for it. I do think that because the shimmers in here are a little less exciting, but you do get a lot of shades, that I would spend the money on the Bella Beauté bar over the Blend Bunny because I just like that a little bit better. I'd rather have exciting shimmers at this price point than really good mattes because any brand can do good mattes by now. But yeah, if you want a lot of colorful options and you want there to be a lot of variety in the shades you get, you want things to be deep, dark, and sultry, but you also want some good crease shades and you want to have some fun shimmers with pops of color, then I do think this is a pretty solid palette. But price point wise, I do think Blend Bunny is getting a little bit expensive. This is also a very heavy palette. Like if I look at my other Blend Bunny palettes, they all have a thinner cardboard, so this does feel sturdier than the older things. I'm not sure if this is magnetic. But yeah, it does come with heaps of product as well. So depending on what you prefer, you may still like the Blend Bunny. I think that of these like more colorful options, if I had to choose between the Cosmic Beauty and the Blend Bunny, I do think I would go for the Blend Bunny because I feel it's a little bit more unique. But you get better shimmers in the Cosmic Beauty. And finally, the Nomad Chamonix Après Ski. This is one I purchased. I'm not affiliated with Nomad, but I can tell you that I have loved a lot of Nomad in the past. They do some stunning things. And I find because their formula is a little differently from other indie brands, like I feel all the other indie brands I've shown you today and a lot of indie brands that you can get on MONOLITH, for instance, there isn't a lot of difference in their formulas. I don't know what Nomad does to theirs. They probably have a different supplier. But it is a very thin formula. And that may sound like it's a downside, but to me it actually isn't, especially if you're a beginner with makeup. This is incredibly buildable, yet you still get really exciting shimmers. Here again, I've gone the boring route. I've done a berry look, a green look, and like a bluish purple look, and it works really well. The reason why I initially didn't buy this, because this has been out for a little while, I didn't get it until later in the spring, was because I had my doubts about this color story. We all know I love blue, green, and purple color stories, but especially these berry tones, I was so afraid that they would look wrong because the way they look in the pan and in the images online, it very much reminded me of the berries in the Passion in Paris by BH Cosmetics, which was my least favorite thing about that palette. So I was like, oh, if these are the same, I know I'm not going to like this palette and it might be a waste of money. I now have it in, I've tried it, and I can report to you that on my fair skin with a cool neutral undertone, the berries in the Chamonix Après Ski pull pink. These show up pink rather than berry on me. There is almost like a plumminess to these shades as well, and they are very light, very fair skin friendly, and especially this white, like it has several of these shades, where it has a nice little pinky tone shift. This is a white with a green tone shift, and this is a very nice grayish lavender, which works really well. So this is also, say it with me, pretty cool toned. This looks warm, but it isn't. These are all cool toned greens. These are all like cool toned purpley blues. You guys were right. I needed this in my life. This is quite possibly one of the best things I think Nomad has done. They they just did a color story that is exactly what I like. Again, did I need this in my life? Probably not, because I have plenty blue, green, purple color stories. But hey, I'm testing it out for you guys as well. And I do have to say that I do enjoy this a lot. What I don't like about the palette is the packaging. It is paper. So if this gets dirty, I don't think you're going to be able to clean it, because it's like, it just feels like regular cardboard. It doesn't have a layer. Like, this feels smooth. So if you get powder product on it, it's not going to be that big of a deal. So that's why I've been keeping the box for this one, just to protect the palette a little bit and keep it a little bit more pristine. But that's the only downside I feel with the Nomad palette. It is absolutely gorgeous. I did 3 looks with it. And actually the day I wore that bluey purple look, I was wearing an all blue outfit, and it kind of just came together that way. I hadn't planned that. And a colleague of mine was like, I like it, it works. And I was like, yeah, I know it does, but that was a complete accident. So yeah, the Nomad Chamonix Après is a winner for sure. So of these 5 palettes, which one is going to be right for you? If you're a beginner, you want to try an indie brand, but you're not exactly sure, then the Nomad may be best. I feel that in terms of price point and the formula you get, they are the most beginner-friendly indie brand on the market till this day, I feel. If you want something that has more oomph, that has the darkness, that has a focus on mattes rather than shimmers, but that does have some really stunning shimmers in, and it's colorful, go for the Blend Bunny Beauty Below. If you want to try some really nice, flaky, high shine shimmers that don't crease that terribly if you have hooded eyes, then Bella Beauté Bar's Green Goddess is going to be your jam. It looks really stunning on. If you want something colorful that's easy to use with a focus on the shimmers, then I would go for the Cosmic Beauty, the Lovers palette. And if you want to try holographic and you want to splurge a bit of money, then go for the Adept Emo palette. I do think it's nice. It just, I've mentioned the limitations that I feel that are there. So those were the 5 eyeshadow palettes that I tested out for you in the month of May. Let me know in a comment down below what eyeshadow palette you've been testing out. I would love to know. In June, I will be back with a new little trial. I did already show you my haul last Thursday, so if you're curious to see what eyeshadow palettes we will be talking about next time, then all you need to do is check out my haul video, because in there I will show you exactly what it is that's new in my makeup collection. So thanks so much for being here today. Thumbs up this video if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to see more by me, and then I really hope to see you again very, very soon in a new video. Bye-bye!